Welcome to A Canadian Investing in the U.S., a podcast and YouTube channel focused on Canadians buying real estate with host Glenn Sutherland.
Welcome to another episode of A Canadian Investing in the U.S. This week my guest is Karl Ross. Karl, tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Glenn, for having me on your show, first of all. I've been watching your show for a while. Actually, I usually listen to the podcast, but I listen to most episodes.
That's great. Thank you.
My brother Kelsey was on episode 80-something, I believe, some time ago, maybe a year ago or so.
83. I looked it up.
83. Okay, there you go. So I wasn't too far off then.
Yeah.
So as far as myself, married with 2 children, living east of Toronto. I'm working a 9-to-5 still, but hopefully I won't be able to say that for many more years. Hopefully that's my dream.
Yeah.
But as far as real estate goes, I've been investing since about 2005. First investment I did was a partner with my brother and my parents.
Yeah.
We bought a house in the York University area, a student rental house. That was originally a 4-bedroom, and we converted it to, was it 8 or 9 rooms? So a rooming house in essence, and went well for us, did us well. We had it for about 7 years, but it was a lot to maintain, put it that way, and a lot of, excitement and different things, fires, fights. One girl tried to stab another girl.
Oh my God.
A lot of stories. So at one point we felt like almost recording like a reality show, but so from there did another student rental in east of Toronto, purchased a coin laundry as well. Also, these were with my parents and my brother.
Yeah.
I did a coin laundry that didn't do so well, but it was a learning experience. Put it that way. We lost financially, but it was a learning experience for us. And,
interesting business. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be good, but the one we had wasn't right. It wasn't a location-wise and everything wasn't right.
Okay.
After that, currently have a triplex in Oshawa, which is east of Toronto.
Yeah.
And quite a few properties in the States, mostly in Indiana.
Yeah. So Indiana, let's talk about what you're doing down there.
Sure.
How are you buying these properties? What are you doing here?
So most of them were off of tax lien purchases, which the county has every year, a couple times a year. Started going in, I believe it was 2018 or 2019. 2018, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And the properties, like these tax lien properties, I think my brother went really into depth into it, but pretty much these tax lien properties are people who can't pay their taxes, are behind their taxes for X amount of period of time, and the county puts them up for auction. So there's usually thousands. Like in this county, there's like usually 12, 13,000, whether it be land or houses or vacant land or businesses that go on these tax liens. And then you can go in. At the time when I first went, it was live in an auditorium, and you bid on the properties. The bids would start from $500.
Wow.
And the last couple of times due to COVID, it's been strictly online. And
that's even better. I didn't realize that they went all online.
Yeah, they went online. It started last. Once COVID hit, they went online.
Is that all of Indiana, or just like the county you're working in?
The county we deal with a specific county, Lake County, it's called.
Yeah.
Which is northeast Indiana.
Yeah.
Northwest Indiana, sorry, close to Chicago. So there's plenty of parcels there. So, and when I first started, it's a lot different than the last ones. It seems like there's just more action. The prices have increased. So I think the city that we focus in it's Gary, Indiana, which over the past, it's a city that was founded on steel industry. And over time, the big steel companies, a lot of it moved out, population went down, and with population going down, jobs left, and, houses are abandoned and all that type of thing, blight and all the negative things that go with it.
Yep.
But the city, I must say, it's on a rebound, right? So there's big plans in it for a rebound, and a lot of it has started already, and they have a new mayor in town, and a lot of positive things have been going on in Gary. So,
cool. So I'm just going back to this online thing. So if it's an online auction, do you still, I remember like you were traveling down to the States and you were walking these blocks and checking it all out. Is that still the case? Do you still walk the blocks when it's an online auction?
See, now with the whole COVID thing and the whole border crossing business, it's a little trickier for most of us. Like my brother's been able to go down because right now I'm still in my 9 to 5 and coming back and doing the 14-day quarantine.
It's tough.
It's not really doable for me, and but he's been able to go down a few times and be there for a good stretch of time, and come back and do his quarantine and everything. But the COVID definitely has changed things. I think especially for out of country investors.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's a little trickier.
Yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities that showed up from COVID that I never even anticipated going through. Mm-hmm. So an online auction, what's this look like? Is it like eBay? What is this? Can you buy, like, is it a whole bunch of properties at the same time? Is it still one at a time?
No, it's parcel, but it's number by number. It's, it's pretty much before the auction, you have a list that's available. Once you register, you get a list of all the different items or all the different parcels that are available on the auction.
Yeah.
And from there, it's pretty much the auctioneer goes through them one at a time.
So it's like a video then, like you're watching a video.
Yeah, it's on video. Yeah, it's video online. So the parcel number would come up. The bidding starts pretty much. Okay. Right. And from there, before that, you'd have done your research as best you can. If you can go down and look at the properties that you're interested in, you could do that, and that's definitely a recommended way. So from that aspect, it didn't change much, but the online definitely changed things. And when you're in the auditorium as well, you can kind of look around and see who's bidding. Kind of see their body language or who they're talking to, what their emotions are like. But in online, you don't really get that sense, although you see the common numbers come up over and over and over. And so you see who's doing what, although you don't know who the person is.
But you'll see the same number, yeah.
You see the numbers, yeah.
Cool. So what else, like with COVID, you're buying properties that need renovation. How's that changed?
Yeah, that's well, actually it's funny because some of the properties we bought on auction or got through the auction, we just started to renovate them a few months ago, because when you do the auction, it takes a while, about a year or so, to get the deed in hand, right?
Oh, right.
So you can only do the work once you have that deed in your hand. So we started two of them about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Both of them, right now is July, both of them are nearing completion. And as I mentioned, my brother, he's been able to be down there, which has really been a big help, because he's had forged some good relationships, got some good contractors there, some general labor guys to cut trees and things like that, and do little things around the place. So it's a good thing that he's been able to go down and spend some time there and forge those relationships, right? Because if, I guess, things really work out, because if he wasn't able to, it would have definitely prolonged things.
Definitely. So You guys are buying auctions, you're buying them cheap, you're doing a reno. What's the next step? Do you guys do refis, you put tenants in? How does this whole plan look?
So a couple of them we have about, between myself and it's a lot of us that actually have gone down and purchased properties. Started with my brother through actually a lady named Nico Sherry. Actually, this is her shirt.
Nice.
She ran a program. Yeah, it's sensible. It's sensible. Yeah. She ran a program that focused on investing in Gary, and that's how my brother Kelsey, I guess, first found out about investing there.
Yeah.
Then he ended up telling others of us about it. We went down. So altogether, I think about maybe 10 or 12 of us from Toronto area have gone down there and purchased, I'd say probably about 20, 30, at least probably 30 different properties. Your question was about rehabbing.
Yeah.
So we just started a few months ago. So, it's been going well. Not as fast, of course, like any rehab, not as fast as you'd want to get it turned around.
No.
Never is, but
yeah.
You kind of always, I guess, have to have that in the back of your mind when you're doing these rehabs. It's not like the HDTV guys when they come in with a crew of 50 guys and bang it out in a week, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. And then what's the plan afterwards? Are you going to do a refi? Or are you just going to keep your money in, or what's the plan?
Yeah, the plan is actually a couple of them that we're working on right now, we're gonna sell,
Yeah.
Sell and invest, reinvest that into other properties. Yeah, so that's the immediate plan. And also recently I bought a fourplex through RBC in the USA.
Yeah.
Which we had to do some rehab on that as well.
So how does that look? Because I've heard a bunch of people using RBC. Is it any different doing a fourplex, do you think, with them?
No, because they consider the fourplex. This is actually one of my original questions with them when I was doing my initial research. They can put a fourplex is considered the same as a single family home, where anything 5 units and above is considered commercial. Cool. Right, and they'll allow you to do up to four properties.
But they're going to re-look at, like, you're personally qualified, so it'll be like debt service ratio, all that kind of stuff. They're factoring in your Canadian stuff, right?
Yes.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Yeah, it was a fun experience. And dealing with banks is always, it's always an experience, right? And so my first thing, actually, about a year ago, I heard about the program for Canadians who invest in the States and doing with like RBC, TD, etc.
Yeah.
And my first thing was to kind of get my credit sorted out and improved, because I always thought I had, pretty good credit until I actually looked into it. It wasn't as good as it should be. And then I did some research on how do I improve my credit. And just with that knowledge, I was able to improve my credit in no time. So that was kind of the baby step before all this, before I actually went ahead and applied.
That's a great point to make, because I did the same thing too. I just paid my bills and I assumed I have perfect credit.
Yeah.
You're like, no, there is some tricks to making this better. I'm gonna have to get a credit person on here.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, because that's, once I had that, I listened to a few credit podcasts and I learned the different things about credit, and I'm like, holy shoot, let me do those things and see how quick your credit improves.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. And if you do guys want to refinance, because I don't know if the reason you're selling the properties is just because of the ARVs aren't high enough to do loans.
Right. Exactly.
I do have a lender. I'll talk to you afterwards. And
okay.
I think they have no minimums.
Okay. I think I heard one of your recent podcasts.
Yeah.
With that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out recently, I think.
Yeah. Just I'll give you a connection if you want. Or
yeah. We'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's an option. It's an option, right? Because before there was nothing, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
because that was one of the obstacles originally with why I went with RBC, with the bank financing with RBC.
Yeah.
That because the properties were so, the property that I actually purchased, I overpaid for it. I paid over the asking price, only because RBC doesn't finance for less. The purchase price has to be $100,000 minimum, right? So the asking price was less than that. Offered more. I got some back as far as having the seller to cover closing costs and everything like that. But so that was part of it. I'm like, had to go in higher than expected, but I knew the numbers all worked out really well.
Yep.
And in the appraisal, that kind of proved that the appraisal was, I think, $129,000.
Then you're good.
Yeah, so all the numbers worked out well.
So what's this thing look like? Is it like townhouse, like a fourplex, or is it 2 on top, 2 on the bottom? There's so many
2 on top, 2 on bottom.
Yeah.
2 on top, 2 on bottom. And it's in a neighborhood. It's in a little area where we already had about 4 or 5 homes that we got through the auction previously.
Okay.
So it was in an area that we're very familiar with. We already had been looking at that fourplex, right?
Yeah.
Had our eye on it. And funny story, early in the year, maybe around January, just before I put in the offer for the place, my brother was talking to somebody who does private lending or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And maybe you could tell me what you think happened here. So he's talking to the lender. The lender's like, yeah, I have some people, some investors in that part of Indiana, Northwest Indiana. Oh, that sounds like a good deal. And, he's supposed to get back to us with some more information. And next thing you know, the guy goes silent, right? Don't hear from him, nothing. But then lo and behold, there's an offer on that property.
did he swoop in underneath you? I don't know.
You tell me what you think. I don't know, but it certainly seems like that. But luckily
now you got to go look up that property. Like if you use like you can go to the county site, right? You could figure out who owns it, and then you can go.
Yeah, well, we own it. I own it. Yeah,
oh.
It went. What happened was whoever put in the offer, either they took it back, or it fell through one way or the other.
Okay.
So right after that is when it went through the bank and put the offer in and everything, and things ended up working out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but it was another lesson learned, right?
Well, that's the thing too. If it's a listed property, always step one, get it under contract.
Yeah.
And then you can't do that with wholesale deals though. And
right.
It's a little different, but
yeah.
No, awesome. So yeah, you bought this fourplex. What's that one look like? What you're doing a renovation on it? Is it there's people living in it? What do you got to do here?
Both. So there's people living in it. We gave cash for keys to get one of the people out. There was one room that was vacant, and actually just today our property manager went to court to have another person outed because the previous management wasn't so great. The house wasn't really upkept, and tenants were behind and everything. So we went in knowing some of this. So kind of clean house. One of them is going to stay. One of the tenants is going to stay, but it's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, no, you set the tone right. You don't want to be lenient off the start or get walked all over.
And rehabbing as well to fix up the place, to bring it up to to make it nicer, fix the kitchens and the bathrooms in the place, and have the exterior looking a little better and everything.
Cool. What does cash for keys look like in Indiana? What's the price on that kind of ticket?
Well, it's kind of one of those negotiation things. It can be negotiation, and actually this happened while my brother was down there for the good stretch, and really the guy, him and his wife were there and a baby, and we didn't want him. Just put it that way. Like they weren't keeping the place really well. It was filthy. And funny enough, I haven't actually, because COVID, I haven't actually even been in the building yet.
Yeah.
But videos and everything, and it was a mess. So, paid him cash and had him leave.
Yeah, and I don't know about. I should assume that it was a statewide thing, but Indiana, because I'm down in Indianapolis, and they had the eviction ban, which is finally getting lifted in the next 2 weeks. But we're recording this in mid July. Yeah. So, but they've had an eviction ban for quite a while, which has made gave people the opportunity to walk all over the landlords, right?
Yeah.
But they did, on the other side of the coin, offer throughout the whole thing a lot of programs to assist with the rent. So we went through that way, and we actually got tenants caught up by directing them to the programs to do that. So it was, they didn't totally go one way. They kind of, we're going to give them a break, but we're going to give options so that the landlords aren't broke either.
Right.
Which is okay, right?
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Like being in Toronto, like Ontario, like we've gotten walked over before, and you can't do anything. That's if tenants know what they're doing here, little you can do, but
cool.
At least, yeah.
Anything else I should ask you about Indiana, tax liens, the fourplex? What did I miss?
What did you miss? I think you covered most of it. I think the banking situation, I think, is something that was difficult. It's difficult with dealing with the banker, the agent, the appraisers, my whole situation. Our agent, from early in the process, he was stressing, guys, get the appraiser, telling our banker, get the appraiser book, because this might jeopardize the closing. It's supposed to be, I think, a 45-day closing. We signed in February. Closing was originally for April 9th. Yeah. There's two things, really, the whole appraisal thing and getting signed by the notary.
Yeah.
So the appraisal thing, banker guy was delaying it, according to the agent. When I speak to the banker's like, don't worry about it. It's under control. We get the appraisal by such and such a date. We'll be fine. Don't worry. Meanwhile, the real estate agent's panicking. Guys, I've seen this before. This is going to jeopardize the deal. It's going to be delayed. It's going to fall through. Get him on it right away. So, I'm caught in the middle. I'm like, you guys talk to each other and sort this out. Like,
Yeah. So how did that go? Like, because I know some of my appraisals in Ohio are taking 2 weeks up to even sometimes 3 weeks to get them in there.
Yeah, so it took a few weeks as well. It took a few weeks, and the closing ended up getting delayed by a week. Kind of fortunate, to be honest, that it was just a week, because at one point it seemed like it might just fall through, because the agent was correct that the first appraiser apparently backed out and didn't want to do it for whatever reason. So the banker had to book another appraiser who finally got it done. But then there's, I guess, the whole steps, I don't know, the whole banking and underwriting has to approve and all that. And meanwhile,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Meanwhile, my brother was there, and because during the agreement, we had a list of items that the seller needs to get done, safety items, removing junk and all this and different things. And there's this thing called clear to close, apparently, where that's kind of the green light that's saying, okay, this deal's actually going to happen. So until that clear to close happens, the seller isn't doing anything as far as fixing, repairing, moving, cleaning, nothing. So like a week before closing, the seller didn't do anything. So, there's a little bit of panic happened, of course, and ended up getting done. And it was a little messy at the end as well as far as signing, because another story, the notary company had a big fight with them, because they're like, okay, you have to come to the States. It has to be signed on American soil. I'm like, it's COVID. I can't come over. Yeah. Oh, go to your
embassy.
The embassy. Go to the embassy.
Yeah.
Call the embassy. They're like, we're not taking you. You can't even speak to anybody. The voice message is like, you can't do anything. It's not happening. And even during regular times, I looked at the schedule. Even if it was a non-COVID time, it would have been weeks to schedule to get someone at the embassy to sign, to notarize.
Yeah.
So I emailed them. I emailed the notary and the agent, everybody. I'm like, guys, we have these companies here that have U.S. authorization. We have lawyers here that have U.S. authorization. I spoke to these lawyers, spoke to like Red Seal Notary, which I used before. They told me, yeah, we could do that, no problem. So I emailed the bank, emailed all the parties, the agent and the company down there, and they're still fighting with me. Karl, find a way. This is not acceptable. So I'm like, finally though, the banker guy said, okay, this is this should be acceptable, and I guess he spoke to the lady from the what do you call it?
The notary-ish place, yeah.
Yeah, so everything.
But this is in Canadian soil place, right? And is it one of those places where you go and you get your stuff notarized, and then they send it away to get it authenticated, and then they send it back, or so then you can send it to the States? No, is this different? Okay.
This is different. This is lady, she's a notary with a company here, and I used her before for something. She lives like 15 minutes away from me. Did it in her living room. She notarized, stamped everything, and I just sent it back to the title company. It was as simple as that. This is like the day before closing, mind you. Right? So, but that was crazy.
I've had the same thing, and I'm actually going through the same thing, selling properties, and it's an Indiana thing, because they're really picky on the notary stuff. Another way around it is what we did was we did a resolution to our operating agreement to allow someone signing specifically for a specific closing. You can write an amendment to the whole thing, and so we gave our real estate agent signing authority for this one transaction on this one day to sign for us, and they accepted that. Which you think about this, and we have to get everything so notarized in the States, but this, to give all this authorization, can just be a piece of paper that's DocuSign. You're like, there's a breakthrough. You're like, strong, and then a weak link. You're like, the 1 weak link. You're like, what is the point of all this then? Exactly. Yeah, a lot of things seem really, really strange. Our agent actually offered me the same option too. He said, oh, I could sign me give me your power of attorney or something, and I could sign it for you. I'm like, I'd rather not, but. Oh, I know. I'd say it's kind of scary, especially depends how well you know them, right? Right. Yeah. And I didn't know this guy from Jack, really. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was scary. How long did it take you to close this thing with Royal Bank?
It took 45 days.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't overall, at the end of the day, it worked out. It was a little exciting with all the confusion and everything, but at the end of the day, it worked out. And I would do it again.
That's the fastest I've heard. A lot of people tell me like 3 months. So to do a 45-day close, you had all your ducks in a row. So like RBC had everything, all your paperwork before you started this process? Or was it you got the deal and then you started giving them all the stuff?
Yeah, they got the deal, started giving them, was it 45 days? End of February, March, April. Yeah, 45 days about. Yeah, so there was different phases. It's, the pre-approval, right after the pre-approval, we spoke a lot on the phone, and they'd send you like a link to a secure site to upload your documents, your T4s and your tax returns and all that type of thing. They send you that secure links, and so that part was okay. A little back and forth, but I think communication was the main thing that was good. I'll definitely give our RBC guy that. He was good on the communication, responding to emails, responding to picking up the phone and everything. So definitely give him kudos on that.
That's good. That's one of the problems you have with real estate agents, mortgage brokers, property managers, contractors. It's just they just don't answer their phone.
Yeah. I know. Actually, our property manager, so far, she's been really good. We have her on a WhatsApp chat with us. Actually, my sister and husband are involved in the investment as well as my brother Kelsey. Yeah. So all of us are on it, and we just text, hey, what's going on? What's going on with the court hearing today? What happened? And she's really good at getting back. So.
That's good. That's a good property manager. Some of them are really good. Some of them aren't so good. I went through both kinds. Yeah. Awesome. Karl, people wanted to track you down. Where do they do that?
Yeah, they can email me at kross1investments, kross the number 1 investments, plural, at gmail.com, or on Instagram, kross1investments on Instagram.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, Karl. I'm sure once this stuff opens up again, we will see each other in Markham again. Was it Markham? Yes, North York.
North York, yeah.
North York, yeah.
No problem. Good luck with all your stuff that you have going on. I wanted to ask you actually, Glenn, is it more beneficial for me to watch you on YouTube or listen to your podcast, or does it?
Well, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Most people do the iTunes or Google Play or Spotify sort of thing, but I haven't even turned on monetization. So
okay.
It's not about making a buck off of any of it. Right. It doesn't really matter. It's all
right. Any way we can get you.
Yeah, it's all networking. It's all grow your business, meet lots of people. That's what it's about.
Excellent. Good stuff. I appreciate it, man. It's been a lot of knowledge on your podcast, man. It's been a lot of knowledge. I have to go back and listen to some of them as far as structure and that type of thing goes as well, because that's something I have to.
No problem. I can even send you which links to go for, but it's usually the same accountants for all that stuff. It's always Elliot or Ali.
Right. Yep, definitely.
Cool. Anyway, thanks for coming on the show. Awesome chat again. And I'm sure we'll see each other sometime soon when this stuff slowly opens.
Sounds good, Glenn. Appreciate it.
See you later.
It's a pleasure. All right, take care.